Afternoon, Cherries fans, and welcome to this very special video here on Up the Cherries in all departments. As everybody will know from seeing the news, on the 24th of February 2022, Russian forces invaded the Ukraine, causing devastation across the entire region. So far, to date, 4 million refugees have had to leave the country, and many people are displaced, many people dead, and the conflict continues to this very time. There is towns like Mariupol which are completely and utterly destroyed. The people of the Ukraine do need essential aid to help them during this fight for their own freedom, for their country that they are so proud of. That's where Simon Cable and his team come in. Following the donations at Castle Point, where Bournemouth, Poole and Christchurch residents donated hundreds of items, so much so that the actual donation centres had to stop for a couple of days taking donations. The task was to get those donations to the front line. And Simon, and along with Gary and Willo and his team, all went over to the Ukraine to deliver these items with donations from Cherries fans to get petrol, to get vans, to get support throughout the journey. This is an inspirational video, and it shouldn't really just be for Cherries fans. And there's loads of details at the end of how you can also get involved. So I'll pass it over now to Simon, Gary, and BBC Solent's Willo to tell us more. It is a pleasure to welcome on to the show today Simon Cable. How are you doing, Simon? Okay?
Really good. Still tired from the trip, but really good. Yeah, glad to be here.
Excellent stuff. We have also got Gary Francis with us. How are you doing, Gary?
Good, thank you very much. Yeah, looking forward to maybe going again, but in the meantime, we'll probably take it easy for a few days, but otherwise raring to go back.
Well deserved. And of course, the voice of the Cherries on BBC Radio Solent, John Willo Williams. How are you doing, John?
Yeah, very good. Good to be home, must admit, but great trip.
Yeah. Excellent stuff. So, firstly, I'll aim this at you, Simon. What prompted you to think of the idea of going to the Ukraine?
Well, some friends of mine had told me that they'd been down to the local aid donation centre, and they were dropping off some aid from the local post office, which was a collecting point. And one of the guys stayed and did some sorting through the stuff, and they learned what was good and what they wanted, what they didn't. And the other guys came away and just said, you know what we noticed is that there's just tons of stuff there, but it's staying there. It's not going. They need drivers. They need someone to deliver it. And one of the things I found out was that they have the any lorries that come, the Arctics that come over from Poland. They can take pallets and pallets of the stuff, but they can't go into Ukraine. They can't go near the border. They'll just drive to the nearest town in Poland and drop it off, and then it has to be distributed from there. And it's just not being done. So so it bothered me for a little while. And then I saw a clip. We've all seen the Sky News clips or the BBC News clips, and there was just a couple of ladies carrying these babies, and they've been like walking for 2 days, and the babies were slipping out of their arms. They just kept re-grabbing them because it was like their arms were just aching so much from not the weight, just for the amount of time they've been carrying them. It was like -7 degrees, and they didn't have a coat on. They've been walking for 2 days, and I thought, I've got to do something. I can't. And what can I do? I can drive. I can drive a van, and that was pretty much it. So I just came home and said to my wife, I'm going to Ukraine. I phoned Gary and said, you're coming to Ukraine with me. He just said, oh, okay. And I said, I've just got to set up a GoFundMe page. We need fuel, we need a van. Didn't know quite what to do from that. And with about an hour of set up the GoFundMe page, which I thought would get about 1,800 quid, it was sort of £800 or £900 in there. People have been so generous and so kind. And then about an hour later, Willo phoned me and said, I don't care what you're doing, I'm coming with you. I won't take no for an answer. I need to be part of this. And I went, well, of course, John, of course I won't leave you behind. And that was the three of us in one van to start with. I went and spoke to a friend of mine who's got a few routes at GPD, Dave, and he said, what do you want from me? I said, can I borrow a van rather than renting one? It'd be perfect. He said, look, I just can't. He said, I can't have a van going to Poland and back, which is where we thought we're going. So he said, what I'll do is I'll sponsor your fuel. I'll give you £600 to sponsor your fuel. That was unbelievably generous. And suddenly we're going, hang on, we're close here to getting two vans. So just Gary said, why don't we pop round and see Dave to thank him for this lovely gesture? And Dave looked me in the eyes and went, you want me to do more, don't you? I said, yeah, I want you to do more. He said, Gail, what van have I got? I've got to go to Ukraine with Simon. And that was it. That was sort of the four. And then we just put a plan of action in where we had to raise some more money, find a date, and that was it. Off we go. I just knew we had to do something. We couldn't let these people suffer any longer, and I didn't know what else to do. If you donate money directly to Ukraine, that's fine, but they've got nothing to buy there. They need stuff that we've got here that we can deliver. So that was the seed of it, and we got together that was the Wednesday night. Most of that came together, apart from when we saw Dave on the Saturday, I think it was. Sunday we had a team meeting, and the Wednesday, 3 days later, we went. It happened that quickly. And within a week of me setting up the GoFundMe page, and between Dave's GoFundMe page and mine, ours, should I say, but we had two separate ones. It got to like £5,500, funded two vans, 7 tons of good that could go to Poland, as we thought at the time, and make a difference. And that's what we did.
And it's been an incredible fundraiser that you've done. At the moment, do tell us exactly how much we are up to.
Well, so between the two pots, it's over £5,500. We're hoping to fund another trip. So we're 5,500, 6,000 in at the minute. We probably need another 3 to really go again, and take as much as possible.
Do tell us a bit about the items that were donated, because I believe it was the Castle Point collection for Ukraine. There's been a tremendous outpour from the Bournemouth community, and it was full. They had to stop taking donations in the end, didn't they?
Yep. So they stopped for a couple of days, but now they've been. I think they've got 2 or 3 hangars been donated to them at Bournemouth Airport, which is where we collected from. Absolutely stacked full of pallets of stuff and goods. Now, when we went into 3.5 ton vans, we took them off the pallets to get more room, and we were absolutely every single part. We did 13 pallets, I think it was, between the 2 vans, and it was. Yeah, I'd say we delivered 7 tons, we should say, but however, I think we were both driving very heavy because you couldn't have got a Risner paper in the back of the vans at the time. We made sure that every ounce of goods we could get to them, we got to them. And we didn't want to leave anything behind. There was no space in the van for anything else.
So the day you set off to the Ukraine, how much preparation did you have to do beforehand? So you've collected the goods. Getting into the Ukraine, I guess, is quite difficult at the moment as well, considering the current situation.
Yeah. So the plan, we decided that, or I'd heard that a place called Lodz, it's called Lodz in Poland, was a big refugee centre, evacuation point. They had trains straight from Ukraine to there, and it's a decent enough road. So we thought if we base it around going there and delivering aid to the refugees, that's sort of where we needed to plan our routes. So we got the ferries, we got the vans, we planned on the map where we were going, and roughly how long it would take us. However, in the day before morning before we left, I had a message from the guys and saying, no, we need you to go right to the Poland-Ukraine border. The refugee camps are fine. Maybe it's the people in Ukraine that need it. Less people are coming out of Ukraine, and the ones that have done are fairly settled and okay-ish. But we need to get aid into Ukraine. So if you can meet these guys on the Polish border, the Polish side of the Polish-Ukraine border, they'll back their vans up to yours, take all your stuff out and put it in theirs, say thank you very much, and they'll go back through to Ukraine. And that was the plan we heard the morning we were leaving. Yeah, John's laughing because
I know what's coming.
things a couple of days later, didn't they, John?
Yeah. It was, keep going, mate. Keep going.
Yeah, so off we set. We left at Wednesday lunchtime. We planned 4 days or to come home Saturday night or Sunday morning at the latest.
Yeah, I'll help you out. We had Gail and my wife Viv, Dave's wife, and Viv is my wife. They organised us all along the way, but it sort of all went fairly well until we got close. I don't want to preempt anything and tell you, look, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I've been thinking this all day, and the lads know it already. A coincidence. Somebody say yes.
Yes, John.
Of course we do.
I know Si thinks a coincidence is when somebody buys them 2 pints on the bar rather than one. But this was a real coincidence. I'll tell you at the end, but I'll give you a football one just to line things up, because I know how important this was, and for people and everything. But I went to Florida on holiday with them, and we went into a water splash park. You slide down the slides and all that. I wasn't very good at that, by the way. But I'm in the showers, and there's a little fella next to me, and he goes, "All right, Willo." I thought it was John Lennon. He sounded like, he went, "All right, Willo, what are you doing here?" And I looked round, it was Jimmy Case. Bournemouth, Southampton, Liverpool, Brighton, all them. But here's the next bit. I go to Portugal 2 years later. I'm in the shower, honest to God. The next fella goes to me, "Are you following me, Willo?" It was Jimmy Case. But right, that's a tale in itself. Now, I've got one for you. If anyone can top it in the world, what happened to me in Poland and Ukraine, you won't believe it. Stay tuned.
Well, I can't wait to hear it, Willo.
The lads know what I'm talking about. Dave instigated it, by the way. He said, "Oh, really? Hang on, but I'll leave it till later."
So you set off to the Ukraine, and what date was it that you left?
So it was Wednesday. Was it the 24th? Gary will probably know this.
Yeah. Sounds good. It seems a long time ago, but it was definitely Wednesday.
We went Wednesday lunchtime. We drove to Harwich, which is north of Ipswich and near Felixstowe, apparently. And we went to
nowhere near Norfolk, Simon, for future ref.
Suffolk, I believe.
No, but you started driving.
Oh, this is what they were like all the way there. These two.
we are actually related as well. So Gary and I. So
are we sure about that?
No, kind of related. Yeah, of course we are. Of course we are. It's another story for another time, Craig. That was about 250 miles, I believe, to get to Harwich, and then we had the overnight ferry. So we arrived basically in the Hook of Holland again, which I'd never heard of. The one it's next to the Hague. I think we had disembarked at 8 o'clock in the morning. Hi all. We're just about to board the ferry, or find the ferry port at least. Boarding might take a little bit longer. But we're in Harwich, some 4.5 hours into our journey. So I will update you when we're on the boat. See you later. Turn around. There we go. At the ferry port. Waiting to drive on and board for our crossing tonight. And then basically we started driving through Europe. Good morning, everybody. It's a lovely day here in Holland. We're in, where are we? We're heading towards Utrecht through Rotterdam. Got a long day ahead of us, probably 12, 13, 14 hours of driving. Probably going to push on through to Poznan, maybe Lodz, and see how we get on from there. So we're pushing through Holland on the way to Hanover. Is probably our next stop. We're going to change drivers, about another 2.5 hours. You can see that sign. Gary has been taking the wheel all morning while I've been enjoying myself.
Doing a fab job, I have to say.
It certainly is. So how are you feeling?
Good, yeah, wide awake.
And 12.5 hours later, probably about 10 hours later, we as John said about Gail and Viv, we messaged the girl and say, look, we're not going to get much further. We need, what have you got within the next hour or two? Can you find us a hotel? We're trying to do it at hostels, and we were thinking of sleeping in the van, but it was like -4 at this point. And we thought we need to be refreshed for tomorrow, because tomorrow's the big day. You know, tomorrow's we're delivering these goods. So we're trying to see if they can find us a hostel. So they did about another 2.5 hours into near the town that we thought we'd aim for. It's pronounced Lodz or something, but it's Lodz in Poland. And so we've done 12.5 hours driving after a night on the ferry, and it's quite tiring. Let me tell you, the roads are, although they're beautifully done, they're not one pothole. It's like driving on a billiard table. Absolutely beautiful. However, there's nothing to look at. They put barriers up either side of the motorways to cut down the sound and the wind, as we found out latterly, a bit later in the story. But so it's just mile after mile. And although we all know Poland and Germany are big countries, I have no idea how big they feel when you're driving through these towns. And I've never seen so much freight in my life. There's Arctics, there's 7.5 ton vans. There's like, in England, you might find one lorry to every 10 cars. Completely opposite on these motorways. Totally different. And the cars that are on there, we ended up calling donuts, because they were trying to swerve in and out of the lorries and cutting between them at 100 miles an hour just to get themselves in the ways. It was quite stressful and tiring, just the amount of heavy loads that are on there, especially when we're driving heavy and you've got to watch your braking distance and so that. And it's mile after mile of exactly the same thing, looking 20 feet in front of you. And so there's nothing to take your mind off it, apart from hopefully at some point there's a garage coming up or a service station and we can swap over, because after 4 or 5 hours of driving, you go, yeah, okay, I'm ready to step out now. Let's get a coffee. Which was the cue for the next guy to jump in. Good morning. Beautiful sunny day. We're on our way to the final destination. It's the drop-off point. So we'll go and tell you where that is after we've left it. I've got John Williams at the wheel today. Say hello, John.
Hello, John.
Hello, John. So how are you feeling?
Pretty good.
All set?
Yeah, all set. This is, we're going to be in another 4 hours or so. But yeah, looking forward to getting there, meeting some people and unloading, getting the gear off.
Not surprisingly, but apart from us, there's very little traffic on the road now. Compared with what we were going through 100 kilometres back, there's lorries everywhere. It seems to be quite sparse in this direction. Driving that far, it was 2,600 miles each van in the end. No matter how close of friends we are, and we've all, I've been friends with all of you for a very long time. Being 2 foot away from the same person for that amount of miles and 5 or 6 days is going to test the best of friendships. So we swapped it up. Who was driving with which passenger? Who was staying the night with which guy? You know, so it kept it fresh. So we always had someone to talk about because there was 4 of us, and so it was never the same 2 together in the morning.
Simon, when you went to sleep, I thought, wow, I couldn't wait. Very good.
Thank you. I couldn't wait either.
I'm sure it was like that for all of us.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It's the way we went. I mean, you can go via France through the Channel Tunnel, but it's longer mileage, and the timing didn't work out well for us. So that's why we started off at Holland. You drive through Germany for the day, and then you're into Poland, and we try to get as far into Poland as we could, so that we could get to the drop-off point, which we thought was prior to entering the Ukraine as soon as we could the next day, because we had no idea how long it was going to take the guys to unload. So we just wanted to get there as soon as we could. But we did go in, obviously, as Simon explained, we did go into the Ukraine as well. So, but yeah, that's pretty much those are the countries that you will go through, depending on which route you take.
But this is where Gary's story comes really in, because we were heading to the border point in the first morning. We left the hotel about 7:30. There's plenty of time, and we allowed sort of 4 or 5 hours for a mess up or a handover, or then being delayed. But we're heading to the crossing that they've given us directions for, and Gary flags our van down, because him and Dave were together, and John and I were together at this point. I said, "Look, guys," said, "they've changed to the drop-off point. We need to go an hour in the other direction. Follow us. I've got the coordinates." So we do. And then it's like changed back to the original coordinates. So we've been messing around for an hour out of our way. Then we're going back there. And then Gary and Dave flag us down again, and we've got to get out for a team meeting on the fly. And what was revealed then was quite an eye-opener, is that the contact had messaged Gary and said, "We can't get out. We can't get to you. You've got to come into us. You've got to come into Ukraine. We're going to cross the border. We'll send a guy over to meet you, but you've got to come to us." And there was a decision to make. And Dave and Gary obviously knew this and already had a chat. And they called John and I over. But we thought we had a chat, and we had a look, and we went, "Well, we're not going to leave the goods on the aid on the side of the road. We're not going to take it back to Britain." It went through our mind, could we find an aid station, drop it there so they could collect it later? And in the meantime, we of course had to phone the people back home, our wives, and ask what they thought, because we sort of thought we're going to have to do it. And while we were making a decision and we were chatting about it, they'd looked it up online and found out that some guy a week before had gone into Ukraine and delivered it under the same circumstances, and obviously got out alive to talk about it. Lots of things go through your head at that point. It's, are they going to take the vans off us if they need them? Are they going to take the phones off us? Even passports? And then where are we and what do we do? They may be desperate. It's a war-torn country. So we had a chat and decided, of course, we're going to go. What else can we do? There's people that need it. We haven't come all this way just to stop at the border and go, you know what, tough, and drive home. And so that's what we decided to do. The 4 of us, all as one, decided we're going to have to go to Ukraine. And we thought we might just nip over the border. They told us 20 kilometres away, which an hour maybe, unload, half an hour, and back. What we hadn't accounted for was the sort of 6 hours at the border crossing. So we ended up crossing at like 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, as the sun's setting behind us. And then the aid that brought us through, because it really helped with the paperwork, because he spoke Polish and Ukrainian. The the crossing, you remember we were trying to help them give the aid to the Ukrainians, and it was those who were slowing us up. It was the customs and border officials asking us what we've got in there. Why haven't we got lists of everything we've itemised? And but eventually we got through, and then the aid said, "All right, stop here, the other side of the border. We've got to wait for the escort vehicle." And at that time, there was 2 little areas of sort of tents have been set up either side of the road, where obviously in the previous week, where there was hordes of refugees coming out, they were being given coffee, food, warm clothing and stuff. And so this is like 8 or 9 o'clock at night now, and we haven't had anything since like 6 in the morning. We haven't stopped for food or anything, because we've been just stuck at the border crossing or zigzagging across from different entry points. So they treated us like we were refugees. They were giving us food and coffee and fried potatoes of some sort with onion. They'd done an outside grill type thing.
Very nice.
It was most welcome, I tell you, wasn't it? Unfortunately, when we got back out, the only thing we could get was chips, so we'd have potato on top of potato. But anyway, that's for a little bit later. So we sat there and waited for the guide vehicle to turn up, because he had to lead us, because he was the one that could talk us out of being stopped by the Ukrainian army or roadblocks, could get us through. But so we waited for him until it was dark, and then we sort of headed off into the worst road infrastructure I've ever seen in my life. I could have parked one of the vans in one of the potholes, and the other van could have driven over the top of us. It was that bad. But driving through at night, and they did say there was rumours always of Russian soldiers in the area with night vision goggles, just marking things, just watching who's going where. You're not in combat, but they're just troops around, keeping an eye on things. And you're thinking, I'm driving in the dark with my lights on in a van full of aid. Anything could happen, and we still don't know at this point what we're going to find as we're going deeper and deeper into Ukraine, or actually our final destination. We just didn't know where we were going. But we were relieved when we got to the building and saw the Ukrainians pouring out to help us unload. They saw us up to step, and there was lots of them, lots of them, and you knew you were in good hands. You knew we'd got to the right people. We hadn't just dropped off at an aid centre that maybe no one wants it or needs it. Off you go, John. Sorry.
No, keep going, mate. It's great.
I'm just passionate, and I'd never give anybody else a chance to say anything. So you really want to concentrate on that?
No. Mate, I hate the sound of my own voice. Keep going. Well done.
So we're getting all these people pour out of the building and help us unload the vans, and they couldn't have been more pleased to see us. Yeah, they're happy to wear the Bournemouth shirts and carry the Bournemouth flags, and then our sort of attention turned to when they said, it's probably best you stay here tonight. We've got accommodation here in Ukraine. And it crossed our mind because it was dark. We didn't know how long. We thought we're never going to find the border. It was so far in. But the guy said, no, we'll take you back to the border. But after 6 hours waiting to get through the border, we thought if it's the same again, we're going to be like up all night. It's going to be like 5, 6 in the morning before we can actually get back to Poland. But with empty vans, it was a bit easier.
Yeah.
Crossing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Still slow, but definitely easier.
On your way through the Ukraine, what did you see things that were a real eye opener, and did you drive through some areas affected? I know most of the fighting has been on the east side of the country, but did you see some damage that had been done, or?
The only thing I seen was, when they put them big planks of steel to stop tanks going through.
Yeah,
They'd done that, and it even crossed my mind the roads were so bad. I think they'd done it themselves so that they couldn't get things through quickly. But I don't know. I was only guessing. But I think we had a lucky way anyway. When we got to the that building where we had to unload and get out quick, I mean, maybe you guys can chip in.
As John said, with the state of the roads, there were soldiers with rifles. There were big slabs of concrete in the road also to stop the tanks going through, and it was dark at that stage. So I guess you did have some negative thoughts running through your mind. Yeah, it was a little bit scary at times.
Yeah, and none of us are afraid to say that. You know, it was scary. We're big brave boys, but you just didn't know what to expect or to see, and it wasn't so much even that the Russian army were nowhere near. It's you're moving into cities of desperate people with lorries full of vans full of goods that they desperately need, and aid they desperately need, and you don't know what's going to happen. If there's a roadblock and suddenly they're going to rip it all apart, and so it was lots of different things. And one, if we had a puncture and then bad roads at that time of night in the middle of nowhere, because there was nothing to see. There was just fields everywhere. Like, how the hell are we going to move on or do anything? So all the negative thoughts went through, but the guys when we got there were absolutely superb, weren't they?
In terms of the war zone, I mean, Lviv is only 60, 70 kilometers down the road, and bombings had taken place before and pretty much after we arrived there. That was when Biden was over there. We didn't realize that at the time, luckily, I think, but it doesn't take much for one missile to go slightly astray. So that was close enough, I think.
Yeah, and as we know from the mileage we've done, 60 or 70 kilometers is like half an hour away. Compared with the way we've driven, we're in the neighbourhood. And it does also thinking, if this place starts getting marked as a place that's taking aid and goods in, it's got to be a target. There'll be if there's someone in the area that reports it, then the Russians will target it. And we're there, right in the middle of it.
But are we getting to the stage? I'm dying to tell you this coincidence.
Go on then.
So I said we mentioned we had to pick up an aid, a guide to see us over the border who could speak Polish and Ukraine.
Hang on.
Oh,
Gary. Gary was the instigator.
No. Carry on. Let Simon carry on. Go on.
No, that's it. So when we met the guide to take us over the border to help us fill the registration forms in, this is where John's unbelievable coincidence comes in.
Gary.
Go for it, John.
So we were talking to the guy, very, very interesting guy. I'd been texting and talking to him a bit on the phone, driving down there, and the usual chit chat. Where do you come from? Where do you live? Etc. Etc. And strangely enough, he had been living and working in the UK for quite a few years. I think he said 17 years. And for most of that time, he lived just 10 minutes down the road from our friend John.
No, well, it's just things have happened over my life where I have had coincidences. The Jimmy Case one, things with not compared with football, but this one, I couldn't believe it. Gary's talking to him and mentioned, I don't know how he started it and all the rest of it, but then he come back to our van and we're talking, and he went, Gary says you live New Milton. Well, I said Barton-on-Sea, and he said now you can look it up on the local things and all that, but he used to work at Pebble Beach, which is a free kick away from our place. It was unbelievable. And his mum lives 500 yards down the road, and his son is a goalkeeper at the academy. Mate, if anyone can better that, I'll buy them a pint. They honestly, it's unbelievable. How can we go through 3 countries in, I don't know, 2,000 miles, and you meet somebody who lived across the road? It was incredible.
And he had a job interview at one of our big donors that's your friend owns a restaurant.
Who, yeah, the Cliff House, yeah, which is just down on the right.
So you both know all the
Yes.
same people, but just hadn't actually chatted together till then.
Yeah, but Steve is a big football supporter anyway. But if for him to, he's just 500 yards down the road, and for all this thing to fall, yeah. But the interview, he went there, but something I don't know how it worked out. But how do you meet? We start off in Bournemouth, and we end up in Poland, Edge, and Crimean. I don't know. If anyone can better that, I've told you, I'll buy you a pint.
You had to go to Ukraine to meet your neighbour.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, and he was a fab guy as well. But I do think, John, your wife was having you followed, and you just haven't realised yet.
She doesn't trust me. She's got no chance.
And we've all swapped contact details with him. So if ever he needs anything, or he's back in the UK, which I think he's planned. He said he's got so many opportunities out there now because he's met so many and helped so many Ukrainians that he's probably going to stay out there. But if the circumstances change, we've said we'll all help him when he comes back with jobs and stuff. So yeah, he was a fantastic guy, and couldn't have met a nicer guy who was more knowledgeable.
Yeah, I agree, guys. Listen, once I don't know how it works and what he's doing, but when he comes back in, I'll be looking out for him for sure.
I'll buy him a pint. I don't know about you.
I'm used to that.
So I guess, to be fair, once we had that conversation, we probably got a little bit more comfortable with the whole, because you can't make that stuff up, you know, because we didn't know who we were meeting. We didn't know the situation down there. So he did give us some level of comfort that actually it was safe to do what we were doing, even though there was a lot of reasons why we shouldn't have gone. It was the right thing to do.
Absolutely. And things were quite scary. He wouldn't leave his he wouldn't put his rucksack down. He wouldn't leave his body. I'm thinking, well, what the hell are we coming now? Now he's in our van. What are we taking over the border? What if customs stop us? And it turned out that he'd been. They can't get enough bulletproof jackets over there, so he's been in Poland to metalwork factories, trying to get them to design their own slabs that can go into the vests that they're making over in Ukraine to make their homemade flak jackets. But we've been told on a couple of border crossings you cannot take weapons or flight jackets or bulletproof vests. Bulletproof vests over the border. So of course we just had to keep very quiet when we had nothing to declare.
So with the aid that you dropped off, what will happen with that now? Will that be distributed across the whole of the Ukraine?
Yeah, absolutely. So the town we went to hadn't been bombed very much, but the refugees are fleeing from the east to the west, and we were there. So there's refugees all in them towns. They don't want to leave Ukraine. It's their country. You know, if we were attacked in the south, we'd probably go north. We probably wouldn't want to go to Iceland. We probably just want to go to Manchester, for example. And it's the same for them. The nearer they are to the home when things are better, the sooner they can get home. And that's what they're praying for. They don't. Most of the evacuees, the people that had to leave, have already gone. It's a trickle now of people leaving, so it's getting the aid into Ukraine. And so this will be distributed around the refugees in the towns and around. As I said, we're 70 kilometres to go, say, from Lviv, or Lviv, I think they call it. Well, they are being bombed. You know, there are homeless there. Other things I want to say really is we can only get our little 7.5 tons there, 7 tons there between the two vans, and we're going to go. We're definitely going to go again. But if we can inspire 10 other people to do what we've done and get 70 tons there, then that's really inspirational. Now, we had it really quite hard. It was quite different to what many people's adventures are. One of the chaps that helped us load the vans in the UK in the Herne Airport, he was telling me, he was asking me and Brian, how did you do this? What did you do there? Where did you get your van? And Abacus were brilliant, by the way. Not so much Enterprise. They said you can't go. But Abacus were brilliant. Good plug, yeah. So where it's deserved. So these little bits of information we'd already found out, what the ferry courses were like, what the prizes were, etc. And so I was feeding this. And then on our day,
Simon, you might need a lawyer.
Yeah. But I can only say how I feel. Yeah. But anyway, so the day we were coming back, it was so wonderful to get a message from him saying, I've done it. I'm hired my van. I've collected the goods. I leave tomorrow. Now, so he went the day after we got back, but he was at a slightly different destination point, about 10 miles inside Poland to a hotel. That would have been perfect for us.
Yeah.
A bit less of an adventure, a bit less of a story to tell. But so it's not all about what we've done. It's not always going to be as hard or as scary as what we've done. But these people need it. We're also in touch with a lady who's going out there to get animal food out there. And they can't bring the pets back, and it's dogs she's mainly concentrating. But she's been told of this area where they're running wild and they need help because the owners can't look after them anymore. So she's going, and she's going to take a little bit longer, etc. And then you hear stories that the zoos have been bombed over there and surrounded by Russians, and so they've had to let a lot of the animals out, like the deers and things like that. The wolves are howling all night because they're starving. The lions and tigers are, but you can't let them roam. But things like the deer and the badgers and whatever else they've got in the zoo, they just let them out into the fields nearby to fend for themselves. And so there's so much more to be done. There's so many more people can do it in different ways. I said if we can inspire 10 others, we've already got 1, maybe 2 with the lady. Then that's given so much more to than what we could do. But we are going again. The guys told me on the way back when I asked very nicely that of course we're going to do again. Of course we're going to do more. But we do need help. We do need more funding. It's not cheap. It's thousands and thousands of pounds to get the ferry, to get the vans, to get the toll through the tolls, the fuel, as we've discussed. It's 2,600 miles per van. That's an awful lot of fuel, especially when you're fully loaded as we were. It sort of eats it. But so with a little bit more help and a little bit more, we'll go again, and we can help others. We can show them the footprint of how to do it, what not to do, what to do. Hotels, contacts, either side of the borders in Ukraine, Poland, Germany, and the UK, places they need to go, on how to make it easier on themselves. We can help, and that's free. We give that, and if they need one of us to go with them, I'm sure one of us will find a way to go and assist with that as well.
You.
Yeah, I can't go every week.
I'll go with Gary.
We need Bournemouth to get automatic promotion, so John doesn't have to do the playoffs. We need him with us for the next one or the one after the next one.
Yeah.
The sooner our season is finished and we're in the Premiership, we could be going all summer.
It sounds good.
Yeah. Well, it's looking promising. It's looking promising.
Just gone lovely.
You're going to come visit a bit of Europe, yeah? But an unbelievable experience. We were not terrified, but scared of going into Ukraine. See if scared is the wrong word. But
apprehensive.
Thank you, Gary. But now we've done it. Now we've gone back. It's like
now we've done it. We're more apprehensive.
Yeah. Going again.
You now see the news, and you actually see that it's getting worse out there. So and it sort of sinks in a bit more. We've all done silly things in our time, and then the next few days, you've got a few days to really work out what you've done, and you probably think that you shouldn't have done it. So, but no, we would based on the conditions, we would go back in again. I think.
I don't think
I
there's
agree.
Good, man. Right, so I don't think. But when John and I talk of old stories of our time when I was a young lad and at Bournemouth, and he was my hero, and I was trying to break into the first team. Yeah, it's like, do you remember when we went to this nightclub or went to that place? It's like, yeah, who was there? Was it Mozzie or was it News? Was it? Or didn't Cookie leave after, halfway through the evening because his wife came and collected him? I mean, you can't. It's all a bit of a haze. I promise you this: we'll never forget who went to Ukraine. Yeah, as long as we live, we'll know who was there. 5 days stuck next to each other in a war-torn country. That is a memory that none of us are ever going to forget. And very, very pleased to have done it with my best friends. And it'll live long, and we will go again.
Yeah.
And chapter 2 will be written because we have to. We have to. Their needs not going away, and nor is our sponsors' generosity. Yeah, it's still donating, and it's still incredibly kind. And if
Yeah, look, you have to mention that, Si, because lots of people have contributed. I had somebody today give us, well, I think it's quite a lot of money. I said, look, can I do you want a receipt? Can I do something? He went, no. Just put that in the, so I think you know about it already, but you'll get no money. And lots of people have done that. It's a bit, oh wow. I'm not very comfortable with people handing cash over and you have to put it in wherever you do. But honestly, people have been enormously helpful.
It's incredible, and yeah, I get very emotional. You know, it doesn't come easy for any of us, I don't think, or anyone to ask for money. Maybe Bob Geldof, but it doesn't come easy to the rest of us.
That crossed my mind, by the way.
Yeah,
I thought Gary could have done Bob Geldof. I think he swore and everything, didn't he? On that, was that Live Aid?
It was Live
Yes.
Aid.
Yeah.
But people have been so incredibly kind, and it's it's one of those, a bit like we were. It's like, well, we don't know what to do, and we can give some money. People, including John and Viv, have taken aid to these aid centres. We might have even delivered the aid that they've given to these aid centres. In a strange thing, but it's like I had to go. I had to do it, and the guys wouldn't let me go without them. None of them took any persuading, apart from Dave. Dave was the last one to join, but I just had to look at him, and he knew.
Top man, Dave and Gail, fantastic.
Absolutely, no. Without them, I said their initial donation to the fuel, and then donating the van and themselves as drivers, and Gail and Viv booking the hotels behind the scenes. We've gone. We need to stop in an hour. You need to find us something. It's got to be cheap. Because
I know.
It's -4. Can you find us a hostel? And they go, right, we're on this road in the middle of Poland. And they go, I found something half an hour away. Is that any good? And we go, just book it. I don't care what. I'll sleep in the porch. Just get us there. And they've been superb all the way. And one of the things they had, I think it's really important for the three of them, because my wife Jackie was at home waiting for us as well. Was Dave's van has a tracker in it, so they can see where it is on the road. And when we phoned them and said, "Look, we may be going into Ukraine," and they said, "Are you kidding?" And then they said, "Well, okay, if that's what you need to do, you need to do it." They were watching us, but the three of them on their own PCs in their own lounges, when we're in radio silence, going over the border, and we're stuck there for 6 hours at the crossing. And then 3 hours through Ukraine, and they're just going, "Oh my God, where they're going, where they go?" And they had no idea. They couldn't see what we were seeing. We couldn't radio contact them. We couldn't phone them. I mean, we were scared, but for them, bless them, but at home, it must have been a very anxious few hours.
Let me say this. You were the instigator. Gary was the calm person. He kept it all floating.
Yeah, good ways.
Dave, probably top man because he drove more than anybody else, and I'm so pleased I was with you guys. If I had a midfield attack and forwards, I'd go you three on a trip.
Brilliant.
Bless
Thank you, mate.
Bless you.
Likewise.
But yeah, we wouldn't have done it without you either. You helped us all together. Your stories, your quizzes on the way.
The stories, that's what you wanted. That's why you took me with you.
I knew most of the stories because I've been with you for a long time.
I can't wait to meet Gary again because he's already told me. You've told me that one.
Yeah. Mate, I'm too polite to do that.
But we got a story now that will last forever. You know, any time we're lacking of something to say, we've got a story we can tell people, and we're going to repeat it, and hopefully maybe bigger and better, or maybe we'll get the luck that our friend had and just deliver to a hotel 5 miles over the border into Poland and come home quicker.
They've been incredible. They've been my support. I didn't have to ask twice, and they came with me. They just said yes. In fact, John Willo demanded he came with me. The others didn't take anything more than just me looking at them to say, we have to go with you, don't we? And bless them, thank them. I love them. The group has been immensely together. We've been a real tight bond and unit. We've changed it around so people are different, driving with different people. People are sleeping with different people. Sorry, I didn't mean that. But yeah, bunking with each other, and it's been really, really good. There's been no cross words, even though John woke us all up at 3:30 this morning. It's just been really kind, really nice. We had a mission. We were all determined to see it through. We did. And so we're on the ferry on the way home, and so far, people are intact, vans are intact. 2,600 odd miles each van, and I say 7 tonne of aid because legally it's only 3.5 tonne of van, but we were running heavy. It's been an experience, and I will update everyone later, but I just wanted to say thanks to the guys. They've been immense. Dave, Gary, Willo, it's been my pleasure to be on this adventure with you, and thank you for coming with me. I may have to go again, but we'll have to go again. Lots of love. Good night.
Hello everyone, good evening. Good evening, we're on a ferry. I think we started moving. I think we started moving. Oh, how do we get the lights in, John? I don't know. It's over there somewhere. John wants me to get the lights in. Anyway, hello. Thank you, we're on our home. We're on the way home to the UK. What we've done, there's been an adventure and it's very, very special. It's all in our hearts, but we've not finished yet. There's so much more that needs to be done. There's so many more people who need to be helped, and we're just a blunt instrument that drove your kindness there. I'm going to ask people what their thoughts are now on the way home, and I'll promise you updates, so that's what we're going to do. And then tomorrow, hopefully, the next update will be us meeting our wives and children and finishing this adventure. But it won't be the last adventure. So I'm going to pass you now to Sir John Williams. And how have you found the whole experience so far, John?
Amazing. Testing, very tough hours in the car, but it all pales into insignificance because what going 30k into Ukraine.
We never thought that, did we?
We never thought that, and it wasn't part of the plan. They sprung it on us when we got here, but we went in and we got out and as quick as we possibly can. And now we're on the boat on the way home, looking forward to seeing loved ones, of course, immediately. And it's been a unbelievable occasion, especially for somebody like myself, almost 62 now.
Can I laugh now?
Well, we've seen things in a different light, and the way the Polish, to start with, for sure, they were fantastic. The Ukrainians were absolutely amazing when we got over there. It's just that, to be quite honest, not too many things have gone wrong, except getting over the border. That took 4 hours. But we're on our way home, and it'll be great to see family and friends, and look forward to getting to Harwich about 7 a.m. tomorrow, and then 4 hours home and bed.
Thanks, John. And friends for life?
Of course. I mean,
the adventurers.
Dave and Gary, of course. Sam, known Simon for many years. Of course, Simon actually trialled with Bournemouth, and I was there on that particular day. It didn't quite work out, but that's how long our friendships lasted. And when he came on to me, I was a bit skeptical, but they've worked so hard, and the ladies who have been helping, Gail, Viv, and Jackie, the girls have been fantastic to help us, and it's so amazing. So we'll just looking forward to getting home, I must say. And then thank you for all our help. I think the lads are going to lead you into it. If you see this interview and people fancy doing it, we can work a quicker route than we took. We can help you. We found things out about the way of getting there quicker, and the people you need to meet. It's all with Simon. He'll give you the details if you fancy doing it. It's been fantastic. Thank you so much for your help.
Thanks, John. Thanks, John. Thanks, John. Now I'm going to give Gary a quick introduction. Wait, doesn't need introduction. A quick introduction. Gary, how you found it?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Where
First
are
of
we
all,
going next?
whenever Jackie will let you go. So I get the feeling the three of us will be going back, and we just need to find a replacement driver for Simon. But yeah, again, it was a brilliant experience, as John was saying, friends for life, and yeah, to be honest, we would go again. So it's been
Go to the people that needed it.
yeah, no, absolutely, it was fantastic. Ish. I mean, the sort of the need to do it and the adrenaline kept us going. So I'm sure Simon's going to sleep for a week. But yeah, no.
Exactly, the need is harder than ours.
Is massive. But yeah, no, it was fantastic. Definitely. I'll be taking Simon again. Don't worry, looking after him.
Bless you, Gary. Bless you, Gary. Thank you very much. Can't ask more to be looked after. Excuse me. Can I just get Dave on the video?
Hello.
So on the ferry on the way home, Dave. What are your thoughts now?
Good. Looking forward to getting home. Seeing the missus.
Were you a good boy?
Always a good boy.
Did a good job, Dave.
We did a good job. Yes, we did. Yeah, just proud of all of us really, and you know, as I said yesterday, it's.
By the way, you're doing it again.
It's a vanguard, isn't it? Yeah, we've got to get in and get people to do the same thing. Be it a check, be it a contribution, be it whatever.
Them doing it themselves.
Yeah. And do it themselves. And it's not ending. It's not ending tomorrow.
No, it's not ending. So if we can encourage 10 more groups of people to do what we did.
Job well done.
70 tonnes rather than 7 tonnes.
Yeah. And then 700 tonnes.
And then 700. It expands.
Well, where's it going to end?
Well, it doesn't end.
No.
With regards to the amount of supplies left at Castle Point and the hangars, how much kit is there still?
Tons and tons and tons of pallet loads. They said a lot of the Polish lorry drivers that are bringing over full loads here are delivering and then taking that as a back load when they're empty vans back to the centre of Poland. So they're doing pallets off pallets. However, it needs distributing from there. And if they won't go to the border, they'll drop off the nearest point because they're just doing a favour to some people that are asking. We need people to join and to go. We'll help you. We'll advise you. We'll do what we can. If we can help fund you, we will, or promote you, we will. We need, from our point of view, to inspire others now. They need it out there, and we can't do it all ourselves. We're going to go again. We're in our 50s and 60s and not the best physical shape anymore. Far too many balls have been kicked or headed.
Two
balls have been kicked.
Do you know, Si, the one thing, the thing that made it go, oh, this might be tricky. When it went dark, we were supposed to be there in light time and get out, but when it went dark, it just felt a whole lot different for me, and especially when you see a couple of soldiers over there and you think, oh, here we go. So get there early if you can.
but also 3 weeks ago, they weren't soldiers. They were just a couple of lads kicking around, riding a BMX and having a fag over the common. They shouldn't have been. They've been given weapons and uniform and told to stand there and guard against Russians coming up the street.
Didn't someone offer you a gun, Gary?
Not offered me a gun directly, but there was one of he was one of the Ukraine soldiers, and we had a very interesting conversation, and I think he would be open to lending it to somebody who knew how to use it. I think that was probably my downside. I wouldn't know what end to get up from, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of,
well, you can't pull a trigger.
We do know someone that did take across 12 ex-soldiers. We were not saying where they went over there to fight. So that is a realistic conversation to have. But I think you need to know what you're doing. I'm not a bad driver. I'm not very good at shooting people.
Any between 16 and 17, any male between 16 and 17 can't leave Ukraine. So there was young soldiers taking their wives and children to the border, putting them through to immigration to the border point, and then giving them a kiss goodbye and turning around and walking back because they're not allowed to leave with them. They've got their new uniform on, they've got a gun over their arm, and some of them looked about 16, 17. These were young kids. And that's quite heartbreaking to see. And so both sides of the border, where the women and children are going, and the people that are being left behind, that's where we try to get all the aid to, and we'll go again to make sure they can get what they need.
With regards to the next trip, are you planning it round the football as well?
Well, that's an ongoing discussion. I think it would be nice to, but feasibly, I think they need the stuff as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So if we could go before the end of the season, that's just a conversation to have with John, because obviously he's the gent that's tied up with his commentating. Ideally, we'd like to go sooner rather than later. So there's just a number of factors that will help us make that decision. I'm sure we can get John on WhatsApp or some other electronic media and get him to commentate from afar.
I only text. Are you talking about me?
We're talking about you. We're waiting for you to have some time to come back again. We're ready to go. We need you to get Soda permission to have a holiday.
So again, what money dependent?
Look. Put yourself in my position. But as regards correspondence, one know that I only text, so don't try and get me on this gear. I'm not, well, Gary will tell you I'm not very good at it.
No, I think I know how to use John's phone better than he does.
He does. He knows all my. Apparently, you can put finance on there. I didn't even know that you could pay for things with.
To be fair, his wife gave me all of his passwords before we left. So if we needed to,
yeah, but she didn't give you the major one.
But we had the COVID app on there all ready to go, but we didn't need it. So yeah, it's just there's a number of factors that will help us decide if and when we can go. So we'll just wait and see.
But we
Yeah.
found a lovely. We had to get the trip home to watch the England game, so we had to. One of the specifications of the hostel on the way back was you need to find a bar that shows football in that town. Otherwise, we're not staying there. And so, bless them behind the scenes, they pulled a blinder.
I think that one was individually. It was me.
Yes,
You
it was.
just wanted a pint. I wanted to watch the game.
To be fair, I don't think we watched much of the game. We were having too much of a chat and some lovely food, but it was on in the background. And bless them, they put the England game on for us in a German bar, which was quite cool.
So, with regards to the next journey out there, is there anything you would do differently, or is it take the same trip?
Yeah, not stay with Simon. I'll go with Gary.
I think maybe we'd come back through. The difference was that it's quite amazing the difference it makes on how fast you can drive the vans when they're full and empty. So
Yeah.
we could do more mileage coming back because we've got empty vans. So I guess we may next time come back through France and go through the tunnel that way, because we'd save about half a day to a day if you can get back, dependent on the border crossing. So
That's the key, the border crossing. If we can get there at 9 o'clock in the morning instead of coming out of there at 10 o'clock at night.
So I think overall pretty good as a first attempt. The trouble is you literally have to work out stuff on the fly. You literally don't know if you're going to hit any traffic queues on the motorways out there, etc., etc. So I think what I would say to anybody is, if you've got a good team behind you, like we did with the wives, then it doesn't matter what goes wrong. They can literally find stuff. And to be fair, one key thing was trying to find somewhere where you can book a van in, car park overnight. That I never even dreamt of that. And actually, it's amazing how many places where you can't park vans. So that's one key consideration. But no, other than that, I don't think I'd change too much.
Thank you so much for sharing the whole story with us guys tonight, because it's, inspirational what you've done, going through to a war zone to deliver aid, which is essential for people. You see it on the TV, you see it on the news. Maripol has become an empty shell and is desperate, absolutely desperate. You've got advances being made towards another port city of Odessa, and the Ukrainians are holding them back and doing a fantastic job. But there is so many people there, women, children, older generation, who are desperate, considering the circumstances, especially on that east bank, bordering Russia. And I believe that Poland alone has taken in 2.5 million, haven't they? Your refugees.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the latest figures was 4 million refugees have now left the country, which is 10% of the population over there.
Yeah.
I think there's either going to be more aid needed in the countries that they've left, or more aid needed in Ukraine where they stay. So either way, just more aid is needed in that region, full stop. So yeah.
We might make it sound quite hard, but when we're our 50s and 60s, with lots of injuries, old football injuries, we're all carrying them. We're friends, we're all Bournemouth fans. We had all the same passion. As soon as I sort of mentioned it to the guys, it was like, I didn't even mention it to John. He just saw a message I put out and went, "You're not leaving me behind. I'm there." So I'm sure there's others that feel the same, and we need to get as much aid out there as soon as possible. We're not the heroes; it's the people that have donated to us to allow us to do this. The funders of us and the guys to donate to the places we pick up from. They're buying equipment and food, just brand new, and just handing it over to these people so that we can take it on a van. And the people that are paying for us to take the vans over, they're the heroes. We're just a blunt instrument that can drive. You know, maybe we're the stupid ones. That's all we can do. We couldn't figure out another way we could really help, and other people have really helped us get it there. And to see the faces of the Ukrainians when we delivered it, the joy of seeing us, hugging us, and for the first time in 2 years, I didn't think once about COVID. It didn't matter. That was the last thing in my mind for 5-6 days. It didn't even bother me that I was on a ferry. It didn't bother me that I was so close to all these people, the aid workers and everything else, or the Ukrainians. It never crossed my mind at all to worry about wearing a mask or what if I catch. The need was so much greater than that, and we can do it again. And our stories hopefully will inspire others too, because we made it sound, and it was quite scary, quite difficult, but it's not always like that. I think they looked at us and went, "These guys are idiots. They'll take it wherever we want to." Rather than more sensible people will get a nice little aid station in the middle of Poland that they can deliver to, and then it can be redistributed from there. But as I said, we're passionate. We will go again. We had the most amazing adventure, and I'll never forget what we went through to do it. But it's such a worthwhile cause.
And all the details of the GoFundMe page is all in description below. So please donate whatever you can do. And if you do want to go on the journey as well, please do get in contact with Simon and the guys. And, I would absolutely love to. I need to get my passport sorted to actually come with you.
Yeah, we've heard that one.
Yeah. No, it has actually expired. To be honest, it expired in 2017, and because of COVID, it kind of I just forgot about it.
It's only £24.99.
I know. I need to do that straight away.
I'm joking. The thing is, as well, I've sort of tried to make light of some of the things on the way and that. But it is really, it's a tough thing what the four lads done, and the girls behind us. It is if you're not, I don't know, I'm 62, and I found it hard going. Everyone looked after me, to be quite honest, and thank you for that, especially Dave and Gary.
You looked after us, and my legs still aren't working the same way as they used to after 5 days of being in a van, whether driving or a passenger. You're sat there at one angle. We've both got we've all got knee injuries or ankle injuries or something from our past history. As we're at say 50.
All of them.
Yeah. And your shoulder. Don't forget your shoulder.
I know. But look, the help of so many people has been absolutely immense, and guys, Si, Dave, Gail, my wife, thank you so much. It was a trip. Hopefully, I can do it again.
Appreciate that you want to go again, and it could be difficult, but never say never.
No. Honestly, if I can get out. But there's games and football, and I've done a little bit. I want to do more. I've made a start, for fuck's sake. And Viv wants the remote control back, so.
We're glad you're coming.
We are back in Ferndown. We made it home. 4 guys and 2 vans, in roughly the same shape as the vans are roughly the same shape as when we left. We might not be, feeling a bit tired and jaded, but we're back in Ferndown having a beer. 2 of the wives have joined us that have done a lot of the work behind the scenes along the way. He plays left wing, and Gary's feeling fresh apparently. He's been like that all trip. But I'm going to introduce you to Viv. Say hi, Viv.
Hello.
And Gail.
Hello.
So you can see yourself in the window.
Hello.
Beer.
Yes.
Yes. I might focus again. Yeah, back on a solid ground of England. Love it.
Usual kind?
And back with the wife.
Yeah,
don't forget to mention the wife.
Yeah, of course. My wife, Viviano's here, so everything's very good.
That's it. We've got all the way through. No scrapes, no dents.
No problems.
Not in the vans anyway.
No, it's we're just working out when we're going to go back.
Exactly that. Gail, when are we going back? You'll tell us.
So the next plan is we're still fundraising. We have 5,500 so far. So what we'll do is we'll put all the costs together, what we paid. We reckon that's about 3,000. We're not 100% sure yet. And then we'll arrange for the next one to go over. We're also still in contact with the Polish guys about what they need, and they just need transport over. So if anyone else has ideas or wants to go over to Poland, I know our guys were a bit exceptional going into Ukraine, but that's what was needed at the time. But any help that you need for assistance, logistics, hotels, travel, ferries, just contact us and we will give you advice to help. This is about awareness, this is about getting the aid to the right people. Thank you.
Well, she should have made my interviews a much easier on the boat, wouldn't she, and in the van trips, if she'd have come with me. Yeah, the first sensible and about the longest. But I said all along, this isn't just about us, it's about inspiring others. And one chap we've already spoke to has been following our story. He got his van today, he's going tomorrow. So I'm getting a bit emotional to think about it. But that's what we need. We need other people now. Take on the ban. Go forward. You can do it. Gary can't get out of bed without putting his knee supports on in the morning. John can't walk. And Dave and I are silly fat twats. So if we can do it, you can do it. So please, let us know what you need. We can help. We can give you documentation, advice. I can tell you exactly what we did wrong, because we did. But we got there and back, so can you. Thank you so much for the journey. And chapter 2.
Thank you everybody for joining me on the show, and all the very, very best. And yes, look forward to hearing the journeys and the adventures of the next one. And you're always welcome to tell us what happens next. You never know, I might be doing the videos as well with you. And thank you for joining us on this very special video. Please do remember to hit the link in the description to find out how you can donate to the efforts of getting aid to the Ukraine. Please do also get in contact with Simon if you do want to get involved in taking vans to the Ukraine and taking those essential supplies over. Everything you can do, everybody.
Well, we got to a bar, we watched the England game. It's been a hell of a long, it seems like 3 weeks, but it's probably more like 3 days, 4 days. Another long slog tomorrow, but in the meantime we're having a beer, glass of wine. Oh, we're on the wine now, yeah. And I'm just going to show you around and ask people how they're actually feeling about the whole experience. I'm going to start with Willo because he talks the most, and then we'll work our way around from there. So, John, if you see yourself in the window...
Yes, I can, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how have you gone so far? Are you better today? Less stressed than yesterday?
Yes, I feel enormously better. I'm absolutely fucked, by the way. So, it's
we might have to bleep that out at some point.
We worked out today, we've stayed in the car for 60 hours. Or it's going to end up that way, 60 hours. And it's been great because I've sat with Simon and we've moved around, Dave, Gary, and we've moved around and every time I end up with Simon. So I've had a great few days. It's been exhilarating in actual fact. Yes, of course. I mean, it was. We got to the border and it was fantastic news. They said to us, "Would you go in 30 kilometres to the Ukraine?" And of course, we didn't even give it a second thought. Yes was the answer.
He says after a bottle of wine.
Yeah. After a few big thoughts, by the way. So it was an exciting 3 or 4 hours to go in there, 30 kilometres and back. and we got away with it. We're out. We're on our way home.
And enjoying having a good night of the bed.
Well, we're going to have a couple of drinks tonight. Yeah, and we're up again in the morning. So looking forward to see you all at home.
Well done, John. Thank you. Right, now, the other heroes of the trip, the people that kept me sane, at least, oh sorry, I did second glasses, have all Mr. Sir Dave Joyner, who's done probably the most driving out of all of us. How'd you find it, Dave?
Yeah, very tiring. Yes, John said 60 hours. Put up with you, but for me, I would put up with you for 40 years. So
no one needs that.
So yeah,
brutal from our point of view, but not as brutal as what they're feeling over there.
So a few hours in Ukraine was quite easy.
but it's been a brutal long days. But great
spirit.
We've done the right thing.
Great spirit. We've done a good job.
Got it there.
Yeah, I think the game changed last week. Your refugees coming out, that's stopped now, so things need to go into the interior of Ukraine now. That's where people still are.
And that's where we did it.
The displaced people are now out, hopefully getting the aid they need and arriving at places that they need to be. But the sad thing is, a lot of people are staying, and the infrastructure's falling apart. They need it internally now, I think, and over the next few weeks, I think it's going to be really important.
And that's exactly where you delivered it.
And that's what we did, unintentionally. Border crossings, and it's a bit scary. Can't deny that, but that's where it needed to be, and of course it goes straight to where it needs to be. I think we all did a good job. Thanks to everybody for helping. Please keep giving. This is not the end. Yeah, it's the beginning, right? And
we're going to go further.
Yeah, and it needs to continue. And Russia, that's really important. Yeah, so or Somalia.
and that's Dave.
I can't do that.
I've mates in school, a long time. Now, Gary, actually family in a strange sort of way. So, Gary, how are you feeling about the whole trip so far?
Not really strange, but no, we've had a fantastic time. We just want to thank everybody that supported us. Kind comments. Obviously, the money helped, which was fantastic, and I mean, I wouldn't say it was easy for us to do what we've done because we believed in what Simon set up and asked. Yeah, so definitely a big here to Simon. And just we couldn't have done it without everyone's support. What we did was drive a van and put up with Willo's stories over and over again. So
do it again? Would you do it again?
Not next weekend, but maybe the weekend afterwards. But not with you. But anyway,
we might have to change vans. Swap vans around.
Yeah. No, it's been fantastic. It's a fantastic experience. Not an experience that we wanted out of choice, but it's an experience that presented itself, and we've just had to do it. So fantastic. So thank you.
Until the next video, up the cherries, and thank you for joining me.